My foster parents abandoned me on my birthday, then came back the next day, begging me to return. I spent my entire childhood in foster care, but this was the worst. This couple would recruit a bunch of kids and use us as laborers in their farming business, and when the child turned 18, they would throw them out, never to be seen again. This is what happened to me. I leaned on my hoe, watching the morning sunrise, its warmth gently touching my face. It was moments like this that almost let me forget the reality of my life as a child laborer. Almost. Anna, stop daydreaming and get back to work. Mr. Thompson's voice cut gruffly through the tranquility. I straightened up, forcing a smile. Yes, sir, I replied, resuming my work. The rhythmic chopping of the hoe against the soil was a familiar soundtrack to my thoughts. Mrs. Thompson emerged from the house, her silhouette framed by the kitchen light. She approached, wiping her hands on her apron. Anna, dear, remember your birthday is coming up. We have something special planned for you. Her voice was always softer, but the underlying sharpness was unmistakable. I hesitated, a lump forming in my throat. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That means a lot. Turning 18 was a milestone, but in foster care on the Thompson farm, it also meant uncertainty. Would I still have a home here? The night before my 18th birthday, excitement sparkled in Mrs. Thompson's eyes. Anna, we have a surprise for you, she said with unusual enthusiasm. A trip to the city just for you. Really? For me. The city was an unexplored adventure, a place I had only dreamed of visiting. Yes, dear, Mr. Thompson chimed in, his stern expression softening into a rare smile. Consider it a birthday gift from us. You've been invaluable on the farm, and we thought you deserved something special. The journey to the city was a blur of excitement. The Thompsons pointed out landmarks and shared stories, creating an illusion of a real family bond. When we arrived late that night, we checked into a modest motel. Get some rest, Mrs. Thompson said. We have a big day tomorrow. Happy birthday, Anna. Thank you, I replied, my heart brimming with gratitude. That night, I fell asleep smiling, my dreams filled with the potential adventures of the day ahead. But the next morning shattered that dream. I awoke to an empty room. A note from Mrs. Thompson lay beside me. Anna, you're 18 now. You're on your own. Good luck. I sat, stunned, the note crumpling in my trembling hands. The city outside, once a source of excitement, now seemed like a daunting maze of uncertainty. I walked out and stood in the motel parking lot. Families and friends buzzed around me, their laughter and chatter a reminder of what I had lost, of what I had never truly had. I knew little of my life before the age of 4. My earliest memories were hazy, fragmented images and sensations that offered no real understanding of where I had come from or who my biological parents were. These memories were like ghosts, fleeting and elusive, leaving me with a sense of longing for something I couldn't quite grasp. I had been with the Thompsons since I was 5. They were the only family I really knew, but the word family always felt like a misnomer. To them, I was less of a daughter and more of a helping hand, a cog in the daily workings of their organic vegetable farm. The Thompsons weren't cruel, but there was a coldness, a distance in their care that left a void in me. On the farm, as the evening chorus of crickets would begin, I would pull my knees up to my chest, wrapping my arms around them. I often wondered about my real parents. Who were they? Why was I in foster care? But these questions remained unanswered, lost in a system that had long since moved on. The farm, with its unending chores and routines, had always instilled in me a strong work ethic and a certain resilience. But it also left me isolated, my world confined to the endless fields and the ever-watchful eyes of the Thompsons. I longed for something more, a connection, a sense of belonging that went beyond the transactional relationship I had with my foster parents. I would turn my gaze to the setting sun, its fiery colors painting the sky. In these moments of solitude, I allowed myself to dream, dreams of a different life, of discovering who I was beyond the confines of the farm, beyond the identity that had been thrust upon me. But every day, as the light would fade and the farm would sink into twilight, reality would settle back in. With a heavy heart, I would stand up, dust off my dress, and head back inside. The night would bring rest, and with it, a temporary escape from the questions and yearnings that filled my days. But late one evening, as the house settled into a quiet lull, I overheard a conversation that chilled me to the bone. Hidden behind the partially open door of the living room, I listened as the Thompsons spoke in hushed, yet urgent tones. We can't keep her after she's 18. It's too much of a risk, Mr. Thompson had said, his voice edged with annoyance. But she's been such a help around here. Can't we just? Mrs. Thompson's voice trailed off, her usual firmness wavering. No, it's the same as the others. Once they're legal, they're out. We can't have them thinking they can stay forever. The finality in Mr. Thompson's voice left no room for argument. They were talking about me. I was just another pair of hands to them, expendable once I came of age. The notion of family, of belonging, shattered like glass against the hard truth. I stepped away from the door. Confrontation wasn't my nature, but I needed answers. I needed to know where I stood. Taking a deep breath, I walked into the living room, my voice barely above a whisper. Is it true? Will you make me leave when I turn 18? The Thompsons exchanged a glance. Mrs. Thompson recovered first, offering a reassuring smile. Oh, Anna, you misunderstood. We were discussing, farm policies. You're part of this family. Why would we send you away? Her words were meant to comfort, but they felt hollow, rehearsed. Mr. Thompson nodded in agreement, but his eyes didn't meet mine. That's right. Don't worry about it, Anna. You have a home here. I wanted to believe them, to cling to the hope they offered, but the seed of doubt had been planted. I forced a smile. Thank you. I appreciate it. The words felt as empty as the reassurance they had given me. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The room I had called mine for the past 2 years suddenly felt foreign, like a borrowed space that could be taken away at any moment. The sound of the crickets outside, once a lullaby, now seemed to mock my naivety. I closed my eyes, the conversation replaying in my mind. The realization that I was alone in this, that my future was as uncertain as the path of a leaf in the wind, weighed heavily on my heart. The idea of family, of belonging somewhere, had been a comforting illusion, one that I was now forced to see through. I felt like a bird that had mistaken a reflection for the sky, only to crash into the harsh reality of a windowpane. The next morning, I joined the other foster kids in the fields. There was Lucy, a quiet girl with a hidden strength in her eyes, and Tom, whose laughter could brighten even the dullest days. They were my makeshift family, but I wondered if they, too, were destined for the same fate as me. As we worked, I shared my fears with them under the guise of casual conversation. Can you believe we're almost adults? I wonder what the Thompsons have planned for us, I said, trying to sound nonchalant. Lucy glanced at me, her expression pensive. I've heard stories, she murmured. Once you're 18, it's like you never existed to them. Tom chuckled, but it lacked his usual warmth. Guess we better enjoy our time here then. Who knows where we'll end up? Their words confirmed my fears, adding to the turmoil inside me. The day passed in a blur, each hour a reminder of the ticking clock. That was my time on the farm. That evening, as I helped Mrs. Thompson prepare dinner, I watched her carefully, trying to decipher the truth behind her facade. Mrs. Thompson, I said hesitantly, I've been thinking about my future. After my birthday, I mean. She paused, her back still turned to me. Oh, she said, her voice neutral. Yeah, I just want to know if I should start making plans, for after. The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. Mrs. Thompson turned to face me, her smile strained. Anna, you don't need to worry about that now. Let's focus on celebrating your birthday, all right? Her evasion was a clear enough answer for me, and my heart sank. The dinner that night was a somber affair, the usual chatter replaced by a tense silence. I ate mechanically, my thoughts consumed by the looming uncertainty of my future. After dinner, as I lay in bed, the moonlight streaming through my window, I made a decision. I couldn't let fear dictate my life. I needed to prepare, to be ready for whatever lay ahead. The Thompsons may not have had my best interests at heart, but I had to look out for myself. With newfound determination, I planned my next steps. I would save whatever money I could, learn about resources for young adults aging out of foster care, and build a network of support. I didn't know what the future held, but I was resolved to face it head-on, with or without the Thompsons. As the days passed, I threw myself into my work with a quiet intensity, using it as a way to distract myself from the growing anxiety about my future. I spent my evenings poring over pamphlets and websites about life after foster care, absorbing as much information as I could. One afternoon, while I was tending to the vegetable garden, Mr. Thompson approached me. His expression was unreadable. Anna, I've been meaning to talk to you, he said, his voice uncharacteristically gentle. I straightened up, wiping the sweat from my brow. Yes, Mr. Thompson? He hesitated as if weighing his words. You've been a good worker, and we appreciate all you've done for the farm. But you know how things are. When you turn 18, things have to change. His blunt honesty hit me. The reality I had been trying to ignore was now spoken aloud, making it all the more real. I understand, I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Mr. Thompson nodded, seemingly relieved that I wasn't going to make a scene. Good. I'm glad you're being sensible about this. In the following days, my resolve only grew stronger. I started to connect with the other foster kids who were in the same situation, sharing resources and advice. We formed a bond, united by our shared experiences and fears. One evening, as I sat outside watching the sunset, Lucy joined me. I heard what Mr. Thompson said to you, she said quietly. I'm scared, Anna. I don't know what I'm going to do when I turn 18. I put my arm around her, feeling a protective surge. We'll figure it out together, Lucy. We're not alone in this. We have each other. Her grateful smile was all the confirmation I needed that I was on the right path. No matter what the Thompsons or anyone else thought, we were more than just disposable labor. We were individuals with dreams, hopes, and the strength to overcome whatever challenges came our way. That night, as I lay in bed, I realized that while the farm had never been a true home, it had given me something invaluable, a sense of purpose and a determination to fight for a better future. With that realization, I drifted into a fitful sleep, dreaming of a world where every foster child found their place, a world where no one would be discarded like an unwanted object. I set out from the motel, my mind a haze of confusion and hurt. The city streets were bustling with life. People rushed past me, their faces a blur, their determined steps mocked my uncertainty. Hey, are you okay? A voice broke through my reverie. I looked up to see a woman, probably in her early 30s, peering at me with a concerned expression. Her eyes, a soft shade of brown, held a kindness that felt alien in my current world of betrayal. I tried to muster a response, but words failed me. Instead, I nodded, a lie that fell flat. You don't look okay, the woman said gently. I'm Jade. Can I help you with something? Her voice was like a lifeline, but my pride held me back. I'm fine, thanks, I stammered, clutching the remnants of the Thompsons' note. Jade didn't seem convinced, but she didn't push further. If you need anything, I work at the cafe over there. Feel free to stop by, she offered, pointing to a quaint little shop with a warm glow emanating from its windows. Thank you, I whispered, my voice barely audible. I wandered the streets aimlessly, each step taking me further into the heart of the town. The buildings towered above me like giants, their windows reflecting the morning sun in blinding flashes. The noise of the city was overwhelming, a clatter of car horns, chatter, and a hum of life that seemed to go on regardless of my shattered world. Eventually, I found myself in a park, the greenery a stark contrast to the concrete jungle. I sat on a bench, watching families and friends enjoying the sunny day. Their laughter and conversations were a reminder of what I had lost, of what I had never truly had. As the sun began its descent, I realized the gravity of my situation. I was 18, alone, and homeless in a city that felt as indifferent as the Thompsons. The evening brought a chill, both in the air and in my heart. The park slowly emptied, leaving me enveloped in a silence that amplified my loneliness. I had no plan, no destination, and the weight of that reality settled on me like a heavy cloak. As night fell, I knew I couldn't stay in the park. With hesitant steps, I made my way back towards the city streets, each one dimly lit by the flickering streetlights. The night brought a different side of the city to life, one that felt more menacing, more uncertain. I walked back by Jade's cafe, now closed, its warmth a distant memory. The streets were emptier, the occasional passerby giving me a wary glance. I realized how vulnerable I was, a young girl alone in the night. Finding a somewhat secluded spot near a closed shop, I settled down for the night. The concrete was hard and cold beneath me, a stark reminder of my new reality. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to find warmth in the chilly air. As I lay there, the events of the past day replayed in my mind. The Thompsons' deceit, the abandonment, the crushing solitude. It all swirled in a tumultuous storm of emotions. Yet, amidst the despair, a spark of determination ignited within me. The Thompsons' actions would not dictate my future. I had to be resilient, to endure and carve my own path. Morning greeted me with the hustle and bustle of the city coming to life. I needed to move, to make something of my situation. I thought about Jade, the kind woman from yesterday. Perhaps her cafe could offer a temporary refuge, a place to gather my thoughts and plan my next steps. With a destination in mind, I felt a small sense of purpose, a glimmer of hope amid the vast uncertainty. When I reached the cafe, Jade was setting up for the day. Her surprise at seeing me was evident. I didn't expect to see you again, she said. I didn't know where else to go, I admitted, my pride crumbling under the necessity of my situation. Jade's expression softened. "Come in. Let's talk over breakfast. You look like you could use a meal." Inside, the aroma of brewing coffee and frying bacon was comforting. Jade listened as I shared my story. "That's terrible," she said firmly. "But you're not alone. We'll figure something out." That conversation with Jade marked the first step in a journey I hadn't anticipated. It was filled with hurdles and uncertainties, but also moments of unexpected kindness and inner strength. The Thompsons had taken away my home on my 18th birthday, but they couldn't take away my spirit. In the heart of the city, among strangers fast becoming allies, I began to write a new chapter of my life. One where I wasn't a victim, but a survivor, determined and strong. And as the city awakened around me, I realized that every ending is just a new beginning, and every setback is an opportunity to emerge stronger. The road ahead was unclear, but I was ready to walk it step by step. The city, with its relentless pace and towering structures, was a world away from the open fields and quiet nights of the farm. I wandered its busy streets, feeling like a leaf caught in a turbulent stream, aimlessly drifting among the currents of people and traffic. The constant buzz was overwhelming, yet there was a rhythm to it, a beat that I was slowly beginning to understand. My stomach growled, a painful reminder of my new reality. I had been too anxious to eat much at the cafe with Jade, and now hunger clawed at me with sharp, insistent fingers. I rummaged through my bag, finding only a few crumpled bills. Not nearly enough for a meal in this expensive city. That's when I met Mac. He was sitting outside a small grocery store, his presence seemingly unnoticed by the throngs of people passing by. His skin was the rich color of mahogany, and his eyes held stories of a life that I could only imagine. He noticed me hesitating nearby and gave me a small nod, a silent invitation to approach. "Lost or just hungry?" he asked, his voice rough but not unkind. "A bit of both, I guess," I admitted, feeling a strange sense of relief in his presence. Mac rummaged through a worn backpack and handed me an apple. "Here, eat this. You look like you could use it." I accepted the apple with a murmured thanks, surprised by his generosity. As I ate, Mac shared his wisdom of the streets, where to find shelter, how to stay safe, and the unspoken rules of the homeless community. "You're new to this, aren't you?" he observed, his gaze sharp but not judgmental. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. I was left here by my foster parents. Yesterday. His expression softened. "That's rough, kid. But I can tell you're smart, and you'll figure this out. Stick with me for now. I can show you a few tricks to get by." We spent the day together, Mac guiding me through the city's labyrinth. He showed me where to find the best spots to rest without being disturbed, how to spot a kind stranger from a dangerous one, and where to get clean water. As evening approached, Mac led me to a community center. "They serve dinner here. It's not much, but it's warm and filling," he explained. Inside, the atmosphere was warm, with volunteers moving about, serving food and offering kind words. We lined up for our turn, and I felt a pang of something unfamiliar, a sense of true community, however fleeting. We found a table in the corner, and as I ate, I felt deeply grateful towards Mac. He had become my unexpected guardian in this concrete jungle. Midway through our meal, the sudden appearance of the Thompsons sent a jolt through me. As they scanned the room, their eyes landed on me, and the relief that washed over their faces was palpable. "Anna!" Mrs. Thompson exclaimed, her voice cutting through the low hum of conversations as she hurried over to where Mac and I were sitting. "We've been looking everywhere for you." I tensed, my spoon pausing midair. "Ow, how did you find me?" Mr. Thompson, following close behind his wife, answered. "We went into that cafe opposite the motel and met Jade. She told us she'd talked to you, and from there it wasn't hard to piece things together." Mrs. Thompson cut in. "One of the homeless gentlemen we met not far from the cafe said he saw you with Mac. He mentioned Mac often comes to this center. We had to find you, Anna," Mr. Thompson added, his voice softer than I remembered. "We realized how important you are to us, to the farm. We've made a huge mistake." I glanced at Mac, seeking silent support in his steady presence. The fact that the Thompsons had tracked me down, following the trail from Jade's cafe to the community center, was unnerving. Their determination to find me only further complicated the tumult of feelings I was grappling with. But why? Why go through all this trouble now? My question was genuine, my confusion evident. Mrs. Thompson reached out as if to bridge the physical and emotional distance between us. "Because you're not just another foster child to us, Anna. You're truly family." Her words, meant to reassure me, only served to deepen my internal conflict. The notion of being family clashed with the harsh reality of their actions. The struggle within me, between the lure of stability they offered and the independence I craved, grew more intense, fueled by their pursuit and unexpected offer to return with them. "We made a mistake, Anna," Mr. Thompson said. "We need you back at the farm. You're not just a hard worker, you're a leader. We can't manage without you. We're begging you." With that, Mr. Thompson went down on his knees alongside our table, drawing stares from all around the room. His wife did likewise, supplicating herself at my feet like a guilty penitent. "Anna, you don't have to go with them if you don't want to," Mac said quietly, his voice a calm anchor in the storm of emotions swirling inside me. "I won't go back with you," I said, standing up, towering above the bowed couple, my voice strong. "What you did, abandoning me here alone, I can't just forget that." Mrs. Thompson's face fell. "But Anna, we're your family," she pleaded. Mr. Thompson added, "We realize now how important you are to us. Please come back." Their words tugged at old strings of longing and hurt inside me, but Mac's presence gave me the courage to resist. "I need to find my own way now," I said, meeting their gaze resolutely. The Thompsons stood up and tried to persuade me further, but I held firm. "Please come back with us," Mr. Thompson pleaded. "We realize now how much we need you. We want to offer you a job as the farm foreman." Mrs. Thompson chimed in, "And we'll pay you, of course. You'll have a real home with us, a permanent place." Their words, so full of promises and apologies, clashed with the memories of being abandoned at the motel. The offer of money and a position of authority was tempting. Mac, who had been silently observing, gave me a look that said, "It's your decision." His presence was a silent reminder of the strength and resilience I had found within myself over the past few days. "I need a moment," I stammered and abruptly walked outside for air. The cool evening breeze was a welcome relief after the stifling atmosphere inside the center. The Thompsons' offer echoed in my head. A part of me yearned for the stability and security they were offering. But another part, a stronger, fiercer part, rebelled against the idea of returning to a life where I was valued only for my labor. I paced back and forth outside the community center, each step a battle between my longing for security and my desire for independence. The Thompsons' betrayal wasn't something I could easily forget or forgive. They had shown me their true colors, and going back would mean surrendering to their whims once again. Returning to the table, I saw the hopeful look in the Thompsons' eyes. Mac watched quietly, a supportive figure in the background. "Anna, we really mean it. You're family to us," Mrs. Thompson said again hollowly. But their words meant nothing to me anymore. Family doesn't abandon each other. Family doesn't use each other for profit. I looked into their eyes, seeing the expectation and desperation there. "I appreciate your offer," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "But I can't accept it. What happened, it changed everything. I can't just go back and pretend everything is fine." The Thompsons' faces fell. "But Anna, we need you." "You're making a mistake," Mr. Thompson said, his tone shifting to one of frustration. "It's not a mistake. It's my choice," I said firmly. "I need to find my own way, build my own life. I can't do that by going back to the farm." The Thompsons tried to argue, but I stood firm. Eventually they left, their shoulders slumped in defeat. I could not have been happier to see the backs of them. As they walked away, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I was choosing my own path, one step at a time, away from the life that had been chosen for me. Mac patted my shoulder gently. "That took guts, kid. Not many can stand up like that." I smiled. "Thanks, Mac. I couldn't have done it without you." He shrugged modestly. "We all need a little help sometimes. You'll find your way, I'm sure of it." That night, as I lay in a safe corner of the community center, provided by the kind staff, I thought about my journey. The pain of betrayal and abandonment still lingered, but there was also a sense of hope, a belief that I could carve out a life for myself, with the strength and wisdom I had gained. The city, with all its challenges and uncertainties, was no longer just a daunting maze. It was a place of possibilities, a canvas on which I could start painting a new chapter of my life. And in that realization, I found a sense of peace, a quiet determination to face whatever lay ahead. I felt a sense of liberation, mixed with uncertainty about the future. But it was my future, my path to carve. I realized then that my strength and resilience were not defined by the stability the Thompsons offered, but by my ability to stand up for myself and make my own choices. I lay beside Mac, a sense of resolve coursing through me. The decision I was about to make felt like sailing into uncharted waters, but I knew it was the right thing to do. "Mac, I need to do something about the Thompsons," I said, my voice steady with determination. What they're doing to those kids, it's not right. We have to stop it. Mac nodded in agreement, his eyes reflecting a fire that matched my own. You're talking about going to the authorities, he stated, not as a question but as a recognition of the seriousness of what I was proposing. Yes, I affirmed. I can't just walk away knowing others are still suffering. We have to do something. The next morning, together, we made our way to the nearest police station. The building loomed large and imposing, its facade a symbol of authority and justice. The police officer at the desk looked up as we approached. "Can I help you?" he asked, his tone professional but not unkind. I took a deep breath, gathering my thoughts. "I want to report a case of exploitation and abuse," I began, my voice gaining strength as I spoke. "It's about a couple who are using foster children as labor on their farm." The officer's demeanor changed, his attention sharpening. "Tell me more," he urged. I recounted everything, from my time at the farm, the hard labor, the way the Thompsons treated us, to how they abandoned me in the city. Mac chimed in with his observations, corroborating my story with the wisdom of someone who had seen too much of the world's darker corners. The officer took notes, his expression growing graver with each detail. "We'll look into this immediately," he assured us. "Can you provide the address of the farm and any other details about the children there?" I provided all the information I could remember, each word feeling like a step towards justice for myself and the others who had suffered at the Thompsons' hands. In the days that followed, the police conducted an investigation. I was called in to give a formal statement, and with each word, I felt a part of my old, fearful self shed away, replaced by someone stronger, more confident. The news came a week later. The Thompsons were arrested and charged with multiple counts of child abuse. The other foster children were freed and taken into protective care, where they would be treated with the kindness and respect they deserved. The liberation of the children from the farm was more than just a victory for justice. It was a personal triumph. It marked my transformation from a victim of circumstances to an agent of change. I had stood up against injustice, not just for myself, but for others who couldn't. Max stood by me through it all, a pillar of support and wisdom. "You did good, Anna. You changed those kids' lives," he said, pride evident in his voice. As I stood there, basking in the aftermath of our actions, I realized this was just the beginning. My journey had taken me from a lost girl, abandoned and alone, to someone who could make a difference. I had found a new purpose, a new path to follow. I had faced my fears, confronted my past, and emerged with a newfound sense of empowerment. The experience had not only resolved my internal conflicts, but also reshaped my identity. I was no longer just Anna, the foster child. I was Anna, a proactive, justice-seeking individual who had taken a stand against exploitation and abuse. Looking ahead, I knew there were more battles to fight, more injustices to confront. But for the first time in my life, I felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. With Mac by my side and growing confidence within, I stepped forward into a future where I could be an advocate, a protector, and a voice for those who had none. The community center had become a sanctuary for me, a place where my experiences transformed into a beacon for others. Each day, as I volunteered, guiding and supporting those who walked through its doors, I found a new sense of purpose and belonging. It was here, among the stories and struggles of others, that I discovered a family in the unlikeliest of places. One evening, I stood in front of a group of new volunteers. My voice, once hesitant and unsure, now carried a confidence born of experience and resilience. "Together, we can make a difference." I summed up my welcoming address, feeling a sense of pride in being part of this community. After the meeting, as I helped tidy up, Mrs. Jenkins, the center's director, approached me. Her eyes held a warmth that always made me feel seen and appreciated. "Anna, I've been meaning to talk to you," she began, her tone serious yet kind. I paused, sensing the importance of the moment. "Yes, Mrs. Jenkins?" She smiled, her expression conveying admiration and sincerity. "You've become an integral part of this place. Your journey, your strength, it's inspiring, not just to those we help, but to all of us working here." I felt a blush of pride but remained silent, curious about where this was leading. Mrs. Jenkins continued, "I've discussed this with the board, and we believe you're ready for more responsibility. We'd like to offer you a job here, as the superintendent of the shelter." I was taken aback. The offer was both surprising and exhilarating. "Superintendent?" I echoed, my heart racing with excitement. "Yes," she affirmed. "You have a natural ability to lead and connect with people. We believe you're the perfect person to oversee the day-to-day operations here." And the position comes with accommodation at the shelter, so you'll always have a place to call home. A job, a home, a chance to make an even bigger impact in the lives of those who came to the center. It was more than I had dared to hope for when I first stepped into the city, lost and alone. Mrs. Jenkins, I don't know what to say. It's more than I ever imagined, I stammered, overwhelmed with gratitude. She placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. You've earned this, Anna. You're part of this family, and we want to support you as you have supported so many others. Tears of joy welled in my eyes as the reality of her offer sank in. This was a new beginning, a chance to continue growing and helping, to be a pillar in a community that had become my lifeline. Thank you, Mrs. Jenkins. I accept, I said, my voice steady despite the emotions swirling within me. I promised to do my best. As I locked up the center that evening, my heart was full. The journey that had brought me to this point, the pain, the struggle, the growth, had led me to a place where I could thrive and contribute to something meaningful.